Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Hemingway and I currently live in Vietnam with my Vietnamese partner and my 3-year-old son. So you might have seen a few of my other videos on the coronavirus here in Vietnam. I have talked about the lockdown, after the lockdown, the second lockdown, the economy here as well. So I thought if you guys are interested in Vietnam, then you might also be interested in Wuhan. So with me today I have a very special guest. His YouTube channel is called Wuhan Laowai. So as you might guess from the name of his channel, he is currently living in Wuhan. I'm going to be asking him some questions about Wuhan and China concerning the coronavirus and how it compares to how China has handled it and how it has been handled here in Vietnam. And after this video, you can go over to his channel and check out his interview with me where I will be answering the same or similar questions to what I have been asking him in this video. Okay, now let's get into it. So do you just want to introduce yourself? Where are you from and how long have you lived in Wuhan for?
I go by the name Wuhan Laowai. I don't really want to say my real name.
That's okay.
I've been living in Wuhan now for 8 years. I'm from the UK, from Cambridge is my hometown. So yeah, and I'm married to a local Chinese.
Been in Wuhan for 8 years. So you were right there in the middle of the outbreak just a few months ago at the beginning of this year. Did everyone listen from the first day when the government announced a lockdown?
No, I would say the first week or 2 weeks, it was madness. Basically, like they locked down the communities. So, you know, in China, yeah, they have like a gated community where they have the security guards. They wouldn't let us leave the communities. You know, I wanted to buy food and stuff like that. And it was a sheer madness for the first week. The good thing about the community where we lived, what they did is they set up, for example, all the community would join like a WeChat group, and then we would like bulk buy our groceries. So and we would WeChat is like Facebook, PayPal, everything combined into one app. What my wife would do, she would order all the food that we need for like 1 week, pay for it, but the whole community would pay for it together, like a bulk buy. And then the delivery drivers, we got Erlenmeyer and Meituan, they would deliver it to the front gate. We'd get like a number, we'd go and collect it. And then we'd like collect it at the front gate and then take it home.
Oh, that's amazing. So was that just done by the community rather than an organization? It was done by the people?
Yeah, the communities, they kind of like organized it because in China, like you have like the WeChat groups, all the communities joined that WeChat group. At the beginning, I have to say it was a nightmare. A lot of Chinese people actually in Wuhan complained about this in the first week. But after like the second week, everything was like well organized. In fact, we never had any troubles. At the beginning, the food prices, some of the small convenience stores thought, oh, we can make extra money. We can like increase the prices and make extra money. There was like a rumor going around online on Twitter, and it was true. That was true. I have to admit that was true. So the Chinese government, the local government, they kind of like punished those people. So they only allowed the big supermarkets like Walmart, Metro, 24/7. These kind of supermarkets were only allowed to like operate during the lockdowns.
And when was this? When would you say the beginning was for you?
Just after Chinese New Year, and that's when it really kicked off.
Yeah. So during Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, as we call it here in Vietnam, were people told not to travel? Because I remember here we were warned not to travel during the Lunar New Year because, of course, a lot of people know people from China here, so they go back to China. Or they visit family in China, or the Chinese come to Vietnam. They were warned not to do that just before Lunar New Year. So were people traveling around that time?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting.
is kind of like a special time for the Chinese people. All over China, they go back to their hometowns, or they go back to like America, UK, all around the world. So that's probably one of the main reasons why the coronavirus spread as much as it did.
In Vietnam, we've had city, district, and even province lockdowns where you're not allowed in or out. There were fines for not wearing masks and even curfews. What did the government do in China to try and control the situation?
During the lockdown, of course, we wasn't even allowed to leave the communities, but we was allowed to walk around in the community, like to like exercise, but we wasn't allowed to leave. However, we were still supposed to wear a mask. You know, we were still told to wear a mask. When they lifted the lockdown, April the 8th, we had to wear a mask no matter what. Like the shopping malls and like the places, they wouldn't allow you to enter unless you was like wearing a mask. If you wasn't wearing a mask, they told you to go away.
Do you think people in China have been skeptical of the statistics?
Well, that's lots of people have asked me that question. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It's definitely higher. The numbers are definitely higher, no doubt about that. But maybe I reckon probably around 100,000 at least.
What is the statistics at the moment?
Deaths, all I know, the deaths are around 4,500, but it's definitely higher than that. Definitely higher than that.
So there are studies which found the virus to have come about as early as August last year. Did you have any suspicions before January or February this year?
December.
Ah, really?
I heard about it middle of December. Because one of my friends told me, oh, there's been like a virus in Hankou, the main district, and I was thinking like a few people, maybe I think there's like 15 cases and one person died. Yeah, that's when I first heard about it. And then New Year's Eve, like 31st of December, me and my wife, we went to like fireworks, you know, like celebrate New Year's Eve. Me and my wife and a few others were the only people wearing a mask. The rest of them weren't wearing any masks. And then we heard, 5 people died around then. And then, yeah, that's when I heard about it then.
Wow.
So mid-December. And then like, when we went back to work, the bosses told us, go home now. They told us all to go home.
When was this? In January?
This was like just before Chinese New Year.
So did you think that it would escalate to how we are now? Just like thinking back then, did you have a bad feeling about this virus?
Yeah. When they locked down the whole city, they locked down the whole, that's when I knew it was serious. It was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
I've never experienced anything like that in my whole life. Like for 3 months we was locked down. It was a proper lockdown. Weren't even allowed to go outside. In America or UK, where like they have like, you know, like the way they build the houses, people can just walk outside and just walk around. But in like China, Vietnam, all these kind of places, you have like a gated community, so it's easy to control the people. Yeah.
How long did it take for people to return back to normal? So to go outside and actually see other people, or were people quite skeptical about going outside or wary about going outside?
Yeah, because we went outside like April the 8th. People were still afraid to go outside. I would say 50% of the people still went outside and like see their friends. People were still working from home. So I would say everything kind of got back to normal around June, July.
Wow. And when did schools go back?
September the 1st.
Wow. So they didn't go back at all then? Have they been online all this time?
Yeah, they did online teaching. So from like January all the way up to like September, so like 9 months, 9 months they were off.
So do you think that the virus originated in Wuhan, or do you think it was brought in from other countries or even other parts of China?
Like, you know, around October, did you hear about the Wuhan Military Games? They had like a world military games in Wuhan around October.
From all the countries around the world, kind of like the
Yeah,
Olympics.
so yeah, it's like the Olympics but for the military. So in
Wow.
Wuhan, they held the World Military Games in Wuhan around October. So all the countries, including America, and I don't know about UK, I don't think they were there, but America were definitely there. They held like a military games in Wuhan.
Wow.
So
So
the virus sprung up around that time, and a lot of Wuhan people, a lot of Chinese people, they kind of suspect it was brought in from another country during that time.
wow. Ah, that's so interesting. What does the media say?
Uh, the Chinese media, maybe they think that's where it came from, but I'm pretty sure it kind of, because in Wuhan, yeah, they got like a famous lab where they test like animals, like in China. It's famous in China. Like, I reckon it somehow escaped the lab and then entered like a wet market.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what the rest of the world says as well.
Yeah.
But
Because I actually went to the lab. I live about 3 kilometers from that lab.
wow.
So
What
yeah,
so what do they do with the lab? Is it still open?
it's not open. It's closed down. But they just test like different viruses from animals, like the coronaviruses and other sort of viruses. They just do testing basically in that lab, like a lot of people think it was.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
other one, the conspiracy theorist, is about the Wuhan Military Games where it was brought into Wuhan. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think it was kind of accidental.
Do you have quarantine camps?
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if like you come over from overseas, of course you have to be like quarantined for 2 weeks. But the communities where we live, they have like these little tents set up. So each time you leave your community, take your temperature, and you have to scan a QR code. If your temperature is like higher than 30, I think it's 37.2, you have to sit in that little tent, wait, and then they call an ambulance, take you away to the hospital.
Wow, really? So is that outside every single community?
Yeah, every single community, they got a small little tent. They have one person sitting there every day, basically like taking your temperature. Yeah, I think they just take them to the hospital. But before, back in the day, they had like loads of those hospitals that they set up. Did you hear about that? They erected like
Yeah.
hospitals.
What do you think about them? Because I did read in the media that they had built these hospitals and then they weren't actually being used.
Yeah, they were being used.
Oh,
So
they were.
I went there to
Have you been tested then for the virus?
I have, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do they do mass testing? If you want a test, can you go get a test?
Yeah, you can. Actually, they tested the whole population in Wuhan in 10 days.
Wow. So in Vietnam, foreigners were refused to be served in shops, and some were even harassed until they left the area. Did the view on foreigners change in Wuhan?
A little. Not as bad as you said. I still got served. Like if I went to a shop or someplace, they still served me. But if I used like the metro or the subway, if I sit down, maybe the old ladies or the old man, they would get up and then they move to another carriage. And
Ah.
if I came from the UK to Wuhan, I've been here all the time.
And is the government doing anything in China to boost the economy at the moment?
All I know is because obviously Wuhan was hit hard, big time. From what my wife told me, they've invested a lot of money into like creating like new jobs. Because recently, over the last few years, they moved a lot of the headquarters to Wuhan. Before, like Huawei, Lenovo, Tencent, all these companies were in like Beijing or Shanghai, Shenzhen, but they moved all the headquarters to Wuhan.
Wow. Oh, that's good. So they've created a lot of jobs then.
Yeah.
How have things changed now in the society you live in as a whole compared to this time last year?
I would say like the people in the community, yeah, like the kind of before, like if I walked out, they wouldn't really say anything to me. Kind of like after the coronavirus, we'll like get together and help each other. So people, they always like say hello, hello, blah, 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 try to talk to me in Chinese and stuff like that. So they're a lot more friendlier now.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Is the community quite, is it quite busy now? So are the streets full just like they were before?
Yeah, I would say they are. There's more traffic on the roads now because like some people are too afraid to like take the metro or the buses, so they're driving now. The traffic has got even worse.
Oh, wow, that's annoying. How was your personal experience compared to how it was portrayed in the media?
Basically, like the British tabloids and the American tabloids, most of the stuff they were printing wasn't true. You know, especially the Daily Mail, BBC, and then some of the American like CNN, Fox News.
What was it that wasn't true? Can you remember anything specifically?
They were just like posting videos about and pictures that they basically welded the apartment blocks shut. You know, like where you enter your apartment, yeah, they were like welding the doors shut and the windows like shut. It's not true.
How about I remember tabloids posting about the market where they think that it originated from, like how bad the markets were. Did you see any of those videos?
I actually went there. I live. The wet market is like 2 kilometers from where I live. You know, the wet markets are quite common in Asia. They got them in Vietnam, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But like, I go to the wet markets to buy the fruit and the veg because it's fresh. Even the seafood is like fresh. I've never seen any like bats or these crazy kind of animals that they're selling in the wet markets. Never ever have I seen any of this kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe you might have to ask for it. You know, maybe they hide it under the table, but I've never ever seen any of this kind of stuff. And maybe the only thing that they do, that they like to hang the meat up, but they do that all over Asia.
Yeah.
You know, like Thailand, Vietnam, South Korea, even Japan, I think they do this kind of stuff. It's common, yeah. Why you just wash it? It's not going to hurt you, is it? Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, thank you very much for answering the questions.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So a big thank you from Wuhan Laowai for taking the time out to answer my questions. If you haven't already, you should go over to his channel and check out the video where he asks me some questions, and also check out his videos around Wuhan and see for yourself what it's like over there. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up, and that's it, I guess. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.